So it's Monday, July 20th, I believe. That would give me 11 days left till I have to get out of my apartment, till I'm homeless. Hopefully that's not going to happen, but a month ago I got a notice saying that I had 28 days to get out. They actually gave me a little more than that anyways, but it was a 28-day notice that they're required to give. And I've been at this place almost 2 years, and it really just kind of sucks. It's a little efficiency, $250 a month, utilities included. It's hard to beat that. And I barely have a job. I mean, I don't even get scheduled every week. I work at this restaurant that hired way too many people. They've only been open a couple months, and they hired way too many people when they started, and now there's a lot of people that don't really get many hours. And yeah, so it's kind of my predicament. I was even talking with some people around by the Salvation Army where I get free meals and stuff sometimes, just go there for lunch or whatever, and they were talking about a tent city where they live right now, which I guess is kind of back by this big park, kind of hidden. But I was asking them about it just in case worse comes to worse. But I've really been improving a lot, and my dad is appreciating it. We have a very strained relationship, but he means well, and he definitely sees the efforts I've been making, and they are real. I was clean for 10 days and was very serious about it, going to a lot of meetings, going to NA meetings, going to different church functions, helping out my dad with things like mowing the apartments. He lives in the city next to me, only about 8 miles away, and he's a landlord, owns a bunch of apartments, so I help him with that and other things. He planned this big retirement party for his fiance. My dad and mom split up about 5 years ago, and he's with this other lady he's been with for a couple of years, and she was kind of forced into early retirement by city politics and things like that. She was the head of the tourism department, and he planned this retirement party for her at like a local park or whatever, and he was kind of worried that not many people were going to show up, that they weren't going to have a good turnout. I asked him, did you put a thing on Facebook? And he said no, and he just kind of didn't think it was important. I'm like, Dad, it's so important. The fact that they're older means that they don't have a lot of friends on Facebook, means they're going to see every post. It would have gotten a lot of people's attention, but it didn't matter. There was a huge turnout. There was like 200 people that ended up coming, and my dad was very happy, and he was very glad that I was able to make it and to help out. And it was very tiring. By the time it was done, I was pooped, but I had some good conversations with some people who I haven't seen in a long time. My dad's friends are a lot of who's who's, and I'm kind of a screw up. Very talented, I have a lot of potential, but I've made a lot of mistakes. And yeah, so it's always kind of embarrassing answering questions about what are you doing? Are you still in school? No, I dropped out again. But I have a good plan. I am very optimistic for a lot of good reasons, and there's been some internal changes, and my faith in God has gotten a lot stronger, and just really has just motivated me and changed the way I look at things. And I've struggled with drugs a lot, and this is the first time in as long as I can remember that I've really wanted to stay clean for myself, and I still have a lot of reservations, one of which is I don't think it's necessarily a sin to use drugs in and of itself, because if it's not a sin to have a drink or two, with supper or whatever, then it's not a sin to have a hit or two of marijuana. Because the legal status doesn't really make something a sin or not. There's a lot of things that are illegal, which are not sinful, and there's a lot of things that are legal, which are sinful. So, I mean, abortions are legal, and that's killing a human being. So, clearly, state law has nothing to do with actual morality. And even so, marijuana is legal in some places. So, there's really nothing making it a sin. And if it's not a sin to have 2 drinks, it's not a sin to have a couple puffs of weed. If it's not a sin to have a couple puffs of weed, it's not a sin to smoke a couple hits of opium. If it's not a sin to smoke a couple hits of opium, it's not a sin to smoke a couple hits of heroin. If it's not, right? You get my point. So what I've come to the conclusion of is, no, it's not a sin, but some are more extreme than the other. And what is a sin is having it wreck your life, not caring about your life, putting these drugs before God, before your family, all these other things, being selfish, and the things you do that are sinful in response to the drugs, like stealing to pay for them. And because I have had so many problems with them, it is His will for me to be clean from them. And that is one thing I just want to focus on every day, even if and remember that this too shall pass.